So first story up was Andrew Schulz. He's a comedian who got very popular on YouTube for making these really, they're like, I don't know how to explain it. They were obviously funny videos. I think originally he was posting his stand-up comedy that he was doing on YouTube. It was funny, and that started going viral. But he would make these videos that were very punchy and like about a topic. So kind of like John Oliver that would do these kind of like exposés into things and kind of making jokes throughout it. So he would script out this, very funny, thing about a topic. And that style of that show, which really picked up steam on his main channel, the Andrew Schulz YouTube channel, he ended up getting a Netflix deal. And so he has a Netflix show. It's called Schulz Saves America. Right? It's on Netflix. And so that whole style, that show is basically what his YouTube channel was. If you ever want to watch that, right? It's really well done, really well scripted. Sometimes he does these really short versions of that at the beginning of his podcast, the Flagrant podcast. Anyways, so that really helped him like pick up a lot of steam on YouTube over the last few years. This is, I think, pre-COVID. And then he started his podcast, Flagrant 2. I don't know why it's ever called Flagrant 2. Now it's just called Flagrant. I guess they got rid of their Patreon. I don't even know. But he posted not too long ago that he has a comedy special that was called The Infamous Tour. I actually went to the shows in Vancouver. And he was going to sell this to a broadcaster, which I assume was Netflix. Or they had already bought it. I think that was the story. They had already bought it. And then some of the jokes were maybe more edgy or whatever. So he posted this video talking about kind of what's happening, and that the network was worried about the backlash from some of these jokes, and they wanted him to edit it. And so then he decided that he would buy it back. I assume it cost him millions of dollars to buy it back. Then he posted this on his Twitter, on his Instagram, and so on, basically saying he's bought it back, and now he's asking people to go to Moment House to pre-order the special, and it's $20 to be able to watch the special on Moment House. So the reason why I think this is interesting is that had he paid millions of dollars, right? I think he got several $1 million for his show on Netflix. I think he actually talked about the number. I want to say it's like 5 to 10 million, something like that. So, and I remember, what's his name? Dave Chappelle. He got several million for his comedy special, right? So let's just say there's going to be like probably, I'm just wild guess, $2 million, right? It's a big gamble, right? When you have guaranteed $2 million from Netflix, right? The distribution, Netflix, brings some credibility. And again, I'm only assuming that this deal is with Netflix because this previous show is on Netflix. To then take the show and say, I'm just going to sell it myself and maybe make over $2 million, right? I just think it's a really ballsy move. I actually like it, and I really hope it's successful because it's going to really disrupt the industry if that works, if what he's doing is going to work. And he must know his number. He has good amount of subscribers. He sold out his, his comedy tour or whatever. And even like just diving into Moment House, it appears what it is kind of like you are renting, the event takes place. Like everyone's going to watch at the same time here on July 17th at 6 o'clock, right? And then you get the replay available for 14 days in case you can't make it to the date. So it's like, like in our world, it's like pre-selling a webinar, right? For a price. It all takes place at one time. Then you have access to the replay for 14 days. It's an interesting model. Just looking at this is like selling entertainment, right? But in our world, we could sell a course or a day event or whatever it is, right?
I think the cachet of having a Netflix show as a comedian is huge. So to give that up is pretty ballsy straight away. We don't know the numbers. So, you're guessing 2 million. We don't know financially how bad this is for him. We don't know how big his database is for selling it himself. So we don't know what he's potentially going to earn.
Well, I don't think he does like email marketing type stuff, right? You could just look at his followers on Instagram.
Well, even worse than really,
Twitter,
right?
And like stuff
yeah,
like
he's
that.
Gonna rely on social or maybe word of mouth, but
yeah, here he's got 400,000 on Twitter, and then his YouTube channel's got a few 100,000.
So I doubt he'll recoup. Who knows? Long story short, we don't know the numbers. We don't know how bad or how good this is for him. I do think, and this is something I've really been surprised about with comedians for a long time. They get away with saying ridiculous things that would, if anyone else would say them, they'd be canceled. And some comedians do get canceled because they, tweet out something or say something. But there's a lot. Like,
hey, just real quick, I just want to say 2 million followers on Instagram. So that that could mean something.
So
anyways.
Yeah, I understand why Netflix probably, now things are getting more, conservative, or maybe less conservative, not sure what you're going to put it, politics versus what you say. And because of that, they have to edit. Now, it sounds like this guy, honestly, I don't know him, but he sounds like he's really wants to control his message and feels like his creativity is probably being hindered by them editing out certain things. He doesn't agree with it. He's got the power to buy it back. So fair enough. I do think, as a bigger discussion, maybe not for our podcast though, is, what you can and can't say on media and the risk of getting canceled, versus ownership of your content as well. If you're sharing it on an external platform, like, I don't know, but I would be stoked to get a Netflix deal, and I'd probably be willing. Maybe I'm more of a sellout than Andrew Schulz is, but I'd be willing to go through whatever hoops they need me to go through to make it compatible for their platform. They own it. I'm fine with that, because, man, I'm then forever as featured on Netflix. And I know, going back to what you're talking about from our world, the power of that brand being associated with my name. I will forever be a person who had a show on Netflix. Like, I will forever be a published author.
Right. But he already has a show on Netflix.
He's canceling the second one then.
Yeah, it's like audience jacking, right? Like, I think it's brilliant. I think, and I think the thing is, I'm curious about the numbers, but it's $15 for the show, right? For this infamous show. So how many does he? I mean, 200,000. Do you think he get 200,000 customers from it? I think so. That's 3 million right there. So like,
yeah,
to
that's
me,
10% of his Instagram following.
Right, and maybe that's high for the average Instagram following, but because he has the Netflix show, he has the brand.
I don't think it is
already there. Does he not? I thought he has the Netflix show.
Well, yeah, he has a Netflix show. It's already there.
Right.
Right. But yeah, if you go to his, I'm just thinking like how much you can convert from either like a swipe up on a story, posting on his Instagram. Plus he has his YouTube channel, which is getting, he could constantly promote that as it's happening. Right. So they have almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube, 770. Right.
I don't know, guys. Sorry. I think we're guessing.
700.
We're never going to know, up or down. What's the deal with Netflix? How many views does he get on Netflix versus what he can generate? Where does he get more people to his live shows?
I think Netflix doesn't tell you.
Right? Like, there's too many things to control here.
Yeah.
So,
but it would be interesting too, actually, if people are buying through Moment House. I bet you he gets everybody's email address, probably for the first time, right? And we all know the power of email marketing.
But you have to say, though,
if he does,
I'm just going to say that a lot of mainstream creators do not understand email marketing and do not tap into it.
That's 100%. Yeah. But had he, or if he does, even if he made $1 million in sales, but then he got all those email addresses and then he starts selling them merch, his next show, tickets, whatever, right? He basically gets access to the contact. Because I know C.K. Lewis is like that, right? He's been selling his own shows or tickets, his own tickets through his own website versus using a third party or something. I think he does something like that, or sells, and so I know he has a big email list, and that's why he's been so successful, right? So maybe he's taken something from that playbook.